What do the wealthy know, and you haven't figured out yet, about handling money? Is there a hidden mindset or habit that separates the winners from the perpetually frustrated? In this video, you'll discover what never to do if you want to build real wealth, and the best part, without relying on luck or inheritance. Is the answer a single decision that changes everything? Or do millionaires simply follow a secret rule no one told you about? Stay until the end because, in the final minute, you'll understand why this information could be the turning point in your financial life. Don't miss this opportunity. And if you want to learn more about how to get rich, subscribe to the channel right now. Your future self will thank you. Here's what most people don't realize about that friend who made a fortune on Bitcoin last year. He's probably the same guy who lost his shirt on 3 other guaranteed investments before he hit that lucky streak. The wealthy understand something crucial. They've seen this movie before, and they know how it usually ends. Picture Sarah, a nurse from Ohio, who threw her entire emergency fund into cryptocurrency after hearing success stories at a dinner party. She watched her money multiply by 4 in just 2 months, feeling like she'd cracked some secret code that rich people had been hiding. But then came the crash, and her dreams of early retirement vanished faster than her savings account balance. The millionaires who have been around the block. They weren't buying into the hype because they recognize fool's gold when they see it. Sure, some folks got rich quick, but for every success story you hear, there are thousands of people who lost everything chasing that same dream. What separates the truly wealthy from everyone else isn't their ability to spot the next big thing. It's their understanding of what really drives these boom and bust cycles. There's this invisible force that's been quietly sabotaging people's financial dreams for centuries, and it's not what you'd expect. It's not bad luck, market crashes, or even lack of money to start with. It's something much more personal and harder to control. The wealthy have learned to recognize this enemy within themselves, while most people don't even realize they're under attack. Meet David, a successful architect who earned 6 figures annually, but always seemed to be broke by month's end. He'd see his neighbor's new Tesla and immediately start researching ways to level up his lifestyle, convincing himself that he deserved the same luxuries. Every bonus became an excuse to upgrade something, every raise turned into justification for a bigger mortgage, and every investment opportunity felt like his ticket to keeping up with the Joneses. The millionaires David envied. They'd learned something he hadn't figured out yet, that greed doesn't just make you want more money, it makes you stupid with the money you already have. They understand that the moment you start making financial decisions based on what others have, you've already lost the game. But here's what's really fascinating. This psychological trap doesn't just affect people who are struggling financially. You know what's wild about studying millionaires? They're not doing anything particularly flashy or complicated. They're just consistently doing the opposite of what everyone else does. While most people are looking for the next hot stock tip or secret investment strategy, the wealthy are busy with something that seems almost boring by comparison. They've figured out that wealth isn't built through brilliant moves, but through avoiding stupid ones. Take Warren Buffett, who still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. While his peers were upgrading to mansions and private jets, he was quietly reinvesting his profits and letting compound interest do the heavy lifting. The guy could buy a small country, but he drives himself to work and eats at McDonald's because he understands something most rich wannabes miss. Every dollar spent on showing off is a dollar that can't work for you. The difference isn't that millionaires are smarter or luckier than everyone else. They've just learned to think in decades, while most people think in months. They'll pass on the guaranteed get-rich-quick opportunity that has their friends buzzing with excitement, not because they're pessimists, but because they've seen what happens when people start chasing easy money. There's a pattern to how these schemes work, and it's more predictable than you might think. Here's the thing about get-rich-quick schemes. They all follow the same playbook, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. They promise incredible returns with minimal effort, create urgency by claiming limited spots available, and always feature testimonials from people who supposedly made fortunes overnight. The wealthy recognize these red flags immediately, but most people get swept up in the excitement and forget to ask the obvious questions. Remember the multi-level marketing boom of the 2000s. Millions of people quit their day jobs to sell everything from vitamins to vacation packages, convinced they'd found their path to financial freedom. Linda from Phoenix invested $15,000 into a revolutionary skincare line, spending her weekends at hotel conferences and her evenings cold-calling friends. 2 years later, she was deeper in debt and had lost several friendships, but the company founders. They'd made their money off people like Linda, not from selling skincare. What millionaires understand is that these schemes don't fail by accident. They're designed to transfer wealth from many people to a few people at the top. The math simply doesn't work for everyone to win, which means someone has to lose. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even when people see others crash and burn, they convince themselves they'll be different. The stories are everywhere if you know where to look. Ordinary people who had everything going for them until greed whispered in their ear. Take Michael, a successful dentist who was already wealthy by most standards, pulling in $300,000 a year and living comfortably. But when his golf buddy started bragging about his real estate flipping profits, Michael couldn't resist the urge to diversify his income streams, eventually mortgaging his practice and home to fund increasingly risky property deals. When the 2008 housing market collapsed, Michael lost not just his investments, but his dental practice, his family home, and nearly his marriage. He went from being a millionaire to filing for bankruptcy in less than 18 months, all because he couldn't be satisfied with steady, substantial wealth. The ironies. His golf buddy, the one who got him into flipping, had quietly exited the market 6 months before the crash, walking away with his profits while others like Michael held on, convinced the good times would last forever. These aren't isolated incidents or tales of people who started with nothing. They're stories of folks who had already made it, but threw it all away chasing even more money. The wealthy understand something crucial about these cautionary tales that most people miss. There's actually a small percentage of people who do seem to come out ahead in these high-risk ventures, and their success stories are what keep the cycle going. You've probably heard about Jake, the college dropout who made millions flipping NFTs, or Maria, who turned $5,000 into 6 figures trading penny stocks. Their stories spread like wildfire across social media, inspiring thousands of copycats who figure they've cracked some secret code. But here's what those viral success stories don't tell you. For every Jake or Maria, there are hundreds of people who tried the exact same strategy and lost everything quietly, without the fanfare or Instagram posts. The wealthy understand that these winners aren't necessarily smarter or more skilled than everyone else. They're often just lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. Jake happened to mint his NFT collection during the peak of the craze, while thousands of others launched theirs during the crash that followed. Maria caught her penny stock run during a brief market anomaly that lasted 3 months, but she's been losing money consistently for the 2 years since then. What's really fascinating is how these success stories actually work against building real wealth. They create what psychologists call survivorship bias. We only hear about the winners, so we overestimate our chances of winning too. The millionaires who have been around long enough know that sustainable wealth isn't built on lightning strikes and lottery tickets. There's something almost magical about watching compound interest work over decades, but most people never get to see it because they're too impatient to stick around. The wealthy have discovered that building real money is more like growing an oak tree than striking oil. It takes time, patience, and consistent care, but the results last for generations. They've learned to fall in love with the process instead of obsessing over quick results. Consider the story of Ann Shaber, a retired IRS auditor who turned $5,000 into $22 million by simply buying blue-chip stocks and never selling them. She didn't have any special insider knowledge or secret trading strategies. She just reinvested her dividends and let time do the heavy lifting. While her friends were jumping in and out of hot stocks, trying to time the market, Ann was quietly building an empire one dividend payment at a time. The beauty of this approach isn't just the money it creates, it's the peace of mind that comes with it. When you're not constantly worried about the next big score or the next market crash, you can actually sleep at night and enjoy your life. But here's what separates the truly successful from those who start strong but flame out. It's all about managing emotions when money is on the line. The difference between wealthy investors and everyone else isn't their ability to pick winners. It's their ability to stay calm when everything seems to be falling apart. When the market crashed in March 2020 and people were panic selling their retirement accounts, millionaires were quietly buying more shares of the same companies they'd owned for years. They understand that fortunes are made during disasters, not during boom times when everyone feels confident. Think about Peter Lynch, who managed the Magellan Fund and turned it into one of the most successful mutual funds in history. His secret wasn't complex algorithms or insider tips. It was his ability to ignore the noise and stick to his strategy even when everyone around him was losing their minds. When other investors were selling during market downturns, Lynch was asking himself one simple question: has the fundamental reason I bought this company changed? What millionaires have figured out is that the stock market isn't really about companies or economics. It's about human psychology and mass hysteria. They've learned to profit from other people's emotional mistakes rather than making those same mistakes themselves. But even the smartest investors can fall into traps if they ignore the basic building blocks of financial success. Here's where most people shoot themselves in the foot without even realizing it. They focus so hard on making more money that they completely ignore the money they're already losing. The wealthy understand that plugging financial leaks is often more profitable than finding new income streams. They've learned that $1 saved is actually worth more than $1 earned because saved money isn't taxed, while earned money gets hit by Uncle Sam before it even reaches your pocket. Meet Jennifer, a marketing executive who made $85,000 a year but couldn't understand why she felt broke all the time. She was paying $200 monthly for a gym membership she used twice, $150 for subscription services she'd forgotten about, and $400 in credit card interest because she only made minimum payments. Meanwhile, she was reading books about stock trading and cryptocurrency, convinced that her path to wealth lay in finding the next big investment opportunity. The millionaires Jennifer was trying to emulate. They'd already eliminated those wealth-draining habits years ago and automated their savings before they even saw their paycheck. They understand that financial fundamentals aren't glamorous, but they're the foundation everything else is built on, and without that foundation, even the best investment strategies will crumble. There's one final shift in thinking that separates those who build lasting wealth from those who stay stuck in the cycle of financial frustration. The biggest secret millionaires know isn't about money at all, it's about time and identity. They've stopped thinking of themselves as people who need to get rich and started thinking of themselves as people who are already wealthy, just waiting for their bank account to catch up. This isn't some new age visualization nonsense. It's a practical shift that changes every financial decision they make, from how they spend their Saturday morning to what they do with their tax refund. When you think like a wealthy person, you start asking different questions. Instead of how can I make money fast, you ask what would a millionaire do in this situation. Instead of looking for shortcuts, you start building systems that work while you sleep. Rich people don't just happen to have money. They have money because they've created lifestyles and habits that naturally generate and protect wealth over time. This mindset shift is what allows some people to build fortunes starting with nothing, while others stay broke despite high incomes. It's the difference between playing financial defense your whole life and finally switching to offense. When you truly understand that wealth is a result of who you become, not what you do, everything else starts falling into place, but only if you're willing to be honest about where you are right now and commit to the long game. So here's the uncomfortable truth. You now know what millionaires know, but knowing isn't enough. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to close this video and go back to scrolling through get-rich-quick schemes, or are you finally ready to do what wealthy people actually do? Look at your bank account right now. Look at your spending habits from last month. Look at where you're putting your financial energy and attention. If you're honest with yourself, how much of your financial strategy is based on hope and how much is based on the proven principles you just learned? The millionaires didn't get where they are by accident. They made a choice to think differently about money, and that choice is available to you right this moment. What's your next move going to be? Will you eliminate one financial leak this week? Will you automate your savings before you see your next paycheck? Will you finally stop chasing shiny objects and start building real, lasting wealth? The people who transform their financial lives aren't the ones who watch the most videos. They're the ones who take action on what they learn. If you're ready to keep learning what the wealthy know that others don't, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because understanding money isn't a one-time event, it's a skill you develop over time, and every video you watch could be the insight that changes everything. Your future wealthy self is counting on the decisions you make today.